Well, folks, welcome to yet another episode of Rumble. Every one of you must be wondering, every day you pick the newspaper in the morning and you find that the price of some damn thing has gone up. You're like, onions are up $70, this is up, that is up, nothing ever comes down. And they always blame it on the transporter. They say it's the fuel price, it's the damned Arabs, it's not the Arabs, it's the tanker, it's not the tanker, the port, the transporter. So today I have with me a man who owns a transport business. So we really try and check out to see how much of it is really truth and how much is just, as we say, bullshit. Okay, my guest today is Deepak Ramaswamy, and he runs a trucking business for quite many years. His family has been in it. So welcome to the show, Deepak.
Thank you.
I just wanted you to just get straight into this thing about, are you guys responsible for all the prices of things going up?
The whole thing is a back-to-back concept. So I'm not going to push up my prices unless actually my costs are going up. And just to give you an example, when diesel prices were $7, the transport cost was about 1/3, and today it's about 55 rupees, 8 times more. And the prices have gone up less than proportionally. So actually our margins have been shrinking over the years.
Okay.
But yes, the fact is when diesel prices go up, we have no choice but to increase the freight rates.
I know, but there's also this, I don't know what you call it, a concept or ratio that they've been saying that for any product that you take, any product, including this microphone and the box of tissues, the fuel cost within that overall pricing is just 5% of the cost, because the rest is to do with raw material and labor and money costs and all that. So would that be right? 5% is all?
No. The exact figure on long trips, on outstation trips, what we call mufsel trips, it's about 45% of the actual price. So if I'm charging you $100 on freight, 45 rupees of mine is going into fuel. My gross cost, the operation cost is about 65%, and which leaves me a gross margin of 35%.
Okay, that's as far as the transport costs are concerned.
Yes.
But if you look at the cost that transport contributes to the overall price of the product, suppose you got a soap for 25 rupees.
But I can't do anything about that.
No. What I mean is that you are not responsible for more than 5% of the overall cost, is what I hear. The rest goes into cost of money, administration.
No. It should be, I would guess it's about 12%. 12 to 14% would be the transportation cost.
Chalo, let's be liberal.
Something like onions, like you say. Yeah. I would think it's about 12%.
Okay, so let's make it more liberal and say 20% is on the cost of fuel within that product.
Okay.
And then when we have a 2% rise of cost, how come everybody blames it on transporter? It shouldn't be, because it's 2% of 20%.
Actually, if you look at it, maybe there's not much truth in that, because every single time there's an increase in the freight, it's done in a very systemized manner by the associations. Okay. So you've got various associations like the All India Motor Transport, you've got local associations. So technically, when we're supposed to increase our freight rates, we're also supposed to announce it. Okay. It's whether it's given to the local brokers or not. Now, what happens is it's important for you to divide the entire segment into two kinds of transports. One is the general thing, which is what you're talking about, the vegetables and all that.
Yeah.
This is completely broker controlled.
Okay.
So therefore, what happens is the immediate price increase of inputs like fuel or raw material. Yes, even steel is a cost for us because the cost of our trailers go up.
Yes.
That is immediately reflected in such transport because the brokers immediately push it up, and there's very little contact between the ultimate cargo owner and the actual cargo carrier. But in our case, where we are actually doing direct contracting with the cargo
so your
owner,
rates won't fluctuate wildly with the cost of fuel?
Honestly, in my case, we're not able to increase the rates more than once in 3 months. So assuming I have a diesel increase, and that's why it happens, because if 45% is our diesel component, and if there's, let's say, a 20% increase, it actually translates only into a 9% increase.
Yes.
But then what happens is there'll be 9% increase over 3 months, and then I'm forced to go to my client and ask for 25% increase. Okay. And then he finds it ridiculous. And he is like, most of the time, then it's a demand and supply thing.
Into a shouting match.
Yep.
Okay, so one is fuel cost. Of course, everybody transporter knows that. But there are other major costs like buying your equipment, for example, trucking costs, labor costs, and of course paying off the hundreds of inspectors on the highway who are out there waving their trucks down, make some money out of them. Right. Is there no way, is it true that every country goes through this problem of having to pay off highway officials?
No, not at all. Not at all. I've seen trucking in Europe.
How does it work there?
Trucking in Europe is very transparent. It's very transparent because the laws surrounding a truck, a transport vehicle, are very, very clear. In India, the entire Motor Vehicles Act is ambiguous. If somebody actually takes the Motor Vehicles Act book, it's like what we call a pillow.
Okay.
And any rule is actually ambiguous in that. For example, tail light specification will say exactly 37 mm or 38 mm.
Okay.
So at some point of time, if the manufacturing, there's a small bit of plastic sticking out, technically the RTO inspector can actually stop me and and the fine will be 1,000 rupees or maybe 1,500 rupees.
So don't you guys ever talk to the government? Don't you guys ever talk to the ministry, the officials involved in? After all, you have people.
We take it as a transport. Take it as a transaction cost, because there are so many areas where any ambiguity, you go to the government throws its hands up in the air and says, yes, I understand, but then if I'm also going to go to the other side of the spectrum, then there may be somebody violating it. So if I make something completely transparent,
So you like the ambiguity also, in other words.
We live with it. But I'm saying it's not practical to blame a government and say overnight take away the ambiguity.
Yeah.
Because the whole system crumbles. There are n number of people in between benefiting from the ambiguity.
Okay.
So it's not just, I'm not going to say it's just the transport inspector. Today, to be practical, any government position requires something to be paid to go there. Any bureaucratic position.
Yeah.
So if he or she is asked to pay something to get a posting in Chennai, he or she also has to earn it back. So the system starts right at the problem starts right at the top and comes all the way to the bottom.
So in other words, you just say live with it.
I think we've learned to live with it. I'm not saying we live with it. I'm still an optimist. I think the problem will get better and better as India progresses with education.
So
with
will the
transport.
correction happen from the clients like you, or will it have to happen from the government down?
It has to be government. It has to be government.
You can't do anything about
Very
it.
difficult. You can take a very ethical stand, but then I lose out to my customers.
All right. So you heard from Deepak about where he is in this thing. Let's find out. But how do we compare with the people abroad? We keep on talking about great systems abroad. Let's find out exactly what is the difference.